Many viewers know that I've been with ICTN for a long time, and over the years I've worked with some amazingly talented people. One of my all-time favorites is Kathleen Stockmier, who left us to work at Northlake College in the journalism department. And their newspaper and magazines have lined the walls with awards under her direction. Well, I caught up with Kathleen to talk with her about her most recent creative endeavor. Here's a look. Once upon a time here at ICTN, there were three Kathys. There was me, there was Catherine Wallstrom, and Kathleen Stockmier. And a lot of you guys will remember Kathleen because she did some of the most wonderful stories that we ever had on the show. Well, she didn't stay with us long. Somebody scooped her up, but I've got her here online with me to tell us all about what she's been doing lately. Hey, Kathleen, how are you?
Hi.
So glad to see you.
You too.
So some folks may know that what you did was went over and had something to do with the award-winning newspaper over there at Northlake College. Tell us about that.
Well, I was a student at Northlake, and Northlake is where I learned how to write. I worked on the campus newspaper there. And so, that's where I knew my heart was, in newspapers. That's why when I got called when Paul Wellstrom called me, or I accidentally called your station by mistake and got Paul Wellstrom. I said, "Oh, I wasn't wanting to call you. I was wanting to call somebody else." And he said, "Well, why don't you come in and talk to me about being a reporter?" And I said, "Well, I don't know anything about television." He said, "But you know how to write a story.
Yep.
We'll teach you the rest."
Absolutely. And that's the most important part.
That was the beginning of 20 years there.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've got a bunch of stuff that's been keeping you busy, not the least of which is a series of books that you started. You planned to write one book when you started, right?
Oh yes, this book had been in my heart for a long time. I had to get it down on paper, and I toiled over that for a couple of years, and I don't know how many people proofread it. I kept saying, "Would you proofread this, proofread this?" Yeah. How did you like it? Did you like it? I love it. Did you like it? They all loved it.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I got a chance to read it, and it is absolutely wonderful. But it didn't stop there for you, and I've read all those books too, because the story went on. So kind of give us a look at the world of Pig Dog Creek, and then we'll talk about what you're going to do next.
Well, I was born and raised in California, and my mother was from Tennessee. And we had to go live in Tennessee for 6 months. And I thought it was the end of the world. I really did. It was like, where's the highway? Where are the movie theaters? Where's the shopping mall? I mean, it was just little bitty town. But I really, really came to enjoy that town. And that's where all of these books are located, in that small little town where my granddaddy ran the grocery store. And, I had aunts and uncles living just, 2 doors down, and, just things that just never happened to me out in California. We had too much tar between us on those roads and highways and everything. And, I was enamored with it. I really fell in love with that little town, that little way of life. So that's where all these books are centered, in a little fictional town called Cook, Tennessee. And when I lived there, I noticed that there were a lot of people that didn't have what I had. A grandfather who worked in the store, and, central air and heating and all of that. There were
Right.
some really tough times there. And so I wrote about this girl that I used to see all the time. I just made her up in my mind, but it was because of her I wrote the first book, because she was never allowed to leave her house. I could see her through my bedroom window, and I could see her in her yard, and she was always there, and she was just like a prisoner there. So I wrote about that girl. I changed her all up and gave her a name and everything, and empowered her.
And she truly comes to life in the book. I mean, when you read
Hmm.
her story, you see this transformation happen, and it happens in such a beautiful way. And of course, you couldn't let the story end there because there was so much more to tell. But folks, you got to get
Everybody
these
wanted to
books.
know, well, what now? What's she doing now?
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you this in closing. You've written, since you wrote the first one, 4, 5 more books.
4 more.
Four more. So
Got
what's
Pig Dog. Pig Dog Diner,
Uh-huh.
Pig Dog Moon, Becky's Love Story.
That's the one I'm reading now.
Yeah, and The Creek's Creek.
Oh, and I'm really looking forward to that one. So, what do you think is next? Is there another book in Cook, Tennessee, or would you go somewhere else?
Oh, I've already started it.
That's fantastic, Kathleen. Are you going to give us a hint before we go?
No.
Okay, that means you'll have to. That means.
Oh, I know. I can tell you.
Okay.
It's in Cook, Tennessee.
Okay, we'll go with that. Kathleen, it's great to see you, even if it's just virtually. And you have to promise me that you'll come back so we can talk about the next book.
Okay, I promise.
Folks, you can go to pigdogcreek.com to learn more.